Yeah, welcome to this in-depth tutorial in which I want to show you how to set up e-signing processes, e-signing workflows using DocsAutomator eSign in Softr and using the native DocsAutomator integration in Softr. I want to show you the result first by clicking on Create Booking Confirmation here. The use case is that we want to send out booking confirmations to customers of ours, and then customers shall sign on those booking confirmations. This is now done. This has been initiated basically with DocsAutomator. We see in a bit how that is set up. But then we get this booking confirmation link. And this link you could now distribute yourself, or it's now, of course, also clickable from here. This opens the DocsAutomator signing page. I agree here, and then I get my signing fields that I've defined, which we have a look at in a bit. I add a date here, and I add my signature, and then I complete this. And now completing this basically adds the signed document here in Softr in my record, which is now this document and has the certificate page attached to it, but also the signature here, date, and my name that I filled out. Please note that there are watermarks on here because we are still in test mode. Let's see how we set this up. Let's see what the moving pieces are of this. We're going to start in DocsAutomator because you will need a DocsAutomator account, of course, but then also an automation setup in DocsAutomator where the data source is Softr. And then here, basically this template that I've defined. The template can be anything, can be any use case, can be any contract, anything you want to get signed. I've used this booking confirmation, one of the templates that you also find in DocsAutomator's template gallery. And then on here, we have a couple of placeholders that we fill out, the client name, email, a couple more, but then also our e-signing text, the name, date, and signature, basically the fields that you've seen me fill out just a minute ago. What we're passing here in our workflow is the client name and email. Both are needed. The client name we use to identify the Softr record. We're going to look at the Softr workflow that we have to set up for that, catching a webhook actually. That DocsAutomator sends out on signing events, but we use the name to match the record in our DocsAutomator in our Softr database. And then the email, if we go here under number 5 actions after document generation, we enable e-signatures. And then the email we set up here as the recipient email for the signer 1. Although in our use case, in order to show you that you can get links back from DocsAutomator, then distribute them, the signing links yourself, I've turned on links only mode. So the email, there isn't an email being sent automatically now by DocsAutomator. This would only happen if you go to send via email. Last thing I want to show you here and that needs to be set up is the webhook address. And the webhook address we get from a Softr workflow where the trigger is webhook. You will need a certain Softr subscription for this. This isn't available on every plan, but you basically need to set up this webhook trigger, and then you get this webhook URL, and you copy this, and you simply paste this here, basically. And this is then the address that DocsAutomator sends events to on signing events. Two in particular. One is signing has been initiated, and one is signing has been completed. Those are the two events that we also listen for. Let's go into the interface quickly to show you how this is then initiated, because from this button, Create Booking Confirmation, we initiate this automation now that we've just set up in DocsAutomator. So I'm here on Actions, and then I have this action Create Booking Confirmation, which runs a custom workflow. I pass two variables here, name and email, which we're going to use in the workflow now. I click on Edit Workflow to show you how it works. All of this is set up by Softr automatically. The only thing I had to add is the DocsAutomator action, which, let me just add this here, you find here under Integrations, DocsAutomator. And then I've called this Create Booking Confirmation. I've added my account. You add your DocsAutomator API key. And then I've selected the automation, which is called Booking Confirmation. This is basically this one that we've looked at just now. The document name I've set to the name that we are passing as basically one of our two variables that we're passing into this workflow. And then I have defined two variables. One is email, and the other is client name. email is the email that we're passing, and client name again, the name. These two variables, email and client name, you also find on the template in DocsAutomator. So here, if we go back into it again, you find here the client name and here the email. This basically initiates then the signing process. Why does it initiate it? Because e-signing is enabled here on the automation under section 5, actions after document generation under e-signatures. So this basically turns this automation into an e-signing automation, and then e-signing is initiated once we click that button. So that's one side in Softr. That just initiates it. And now we are getting, because we've registered the webhook, we are getting events being sent to this webhook, and we need to catch these events and do something with them. And that's what's set up in the Softr workflow. We can also go into it again here under workflows. You see I've got this DocsAutomator signing flow started by this webhook. The first thing I do is I find the record that is actually part of this webhook, or basically the record that we started the signing process for. I'm finding this by saying this is a Softr database action find record in our leads table that we've looked at just now. I can also open the data here in our leads table. And then I say where the full name is body.sourceData client name, because here on our webhook, we're actually passing the entire source data, which you find here. So everything we're adding to our documents is also available on the webhook. So I can just say this client name, I want to match, test this again, and this then actually finds the record in our Softr database. We need to branch out then into two different events that are happening. One is the signing process has been initiated. This is when the status, body.status on our webhook is still pending. You will find that property on the webhook. And the other is when it's completed. Pending means it has been initiated, the link is prepared. Now it's basically waiting for signees to sign, or for signers to sign. And then when it's completed, that's when we know all the signers have basically signed. In our case, just one signer. When it's pending, we're updating the Softr record where we use the record that we found in the second step, we find record. And then we go into our database, into the leads table, we say select record, we select the record from the find record step, and then we update our booking confirmation link field, basically with our URL, which you can see here, and which we have done. So that is event number one. Event number two is the signing is completed, and then we update the file field booking confirmation, which you find here, actually with the PDF that we also get back from DocsAutomator then, and which is sent to that webhook, and which is, we can also do this again here, just to show you on our webhook, we have something called signed on the body, signed PDF URL, and this we select. When you set this up, you listen to the first event, like you go in test mode in DocsAutomator, you listen to the first event basically when you initiate signing. You go to webhook, you go to testing, you test this, because then you get the entire payload, the entire data for that first event. And when signing is completed, then you listen to the webhook basically again, you test again, and then you get the entire data being sent when signing is completed. And that is the entire flow, basically. So you initiate via this button. This gives you a link. That link can be distributed to your customers, to clients, whoever needs to sign. And then you catch basically the signed PDF in the same workflow here, listening to this webhook and then initiating the sequence of actions. I said before, if you enable send via email, then you let DocsAutomator handle the sending out of the signing link. Basically, you give the email here, and this is then where the signing link is being sent to. You can also customize the email, etc. That is being sent, so the text can be customized. And then you would only need to listen to the completed event. Then you wouldn't need the pending event here, because then you only want to catch the signed document in the end, and you don't want to store the link potentially, because you wouldn't have to necessarily. Then you're just listening to the signed event. I hope that gave you a good overview. I know it's a bit complicated. There's a lot of things involved. If you have any questions about it, please reach out. If you need help, please reach out. And for now, I wish you happy automating. Speak to you very soon.